To get back to that tense exchange in the Oval Office yesterday, President Trump confronting South African leader Cyril Ramaphosa over whether genocide is taking place in his country. Trump then played a highly edited video showing unsubstantiated claims of genocide against white South African farmers. Watch.
It has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do with or without you.
For more on this, we want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Debora Patta. She joins us from Johannesburg, has reported from South Africa for decades. Debora, you are South African, so it's crucial to get your perspective on the information President Trump shared yesterday in the Oval Office. What did you make of that?
Well, you know, the South African delegation firstly learned from President Trump's interaction with Ukrainian President Zelensky. Don't take the bait. And I think what people may not know is that Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, was actually former President Nelson Mandela's chief negotiator during talks to end apartheid. He befriended his counterpart in the white apartheid government. They used to go trout fishing together. So the South Africans were really trying to turn the conversation to trade, which is why they are there. They had white Afrikaner Johan Rupert, who's a friend of Trump, plead their case. And then the chef's kiss, those famous South African golfers, Ernie Els and Retief Goosen, that they brought along, which Trump obviously loved, given his passion for the sport. And the difference is that Zelensky never got to have a working lunch with the president after that disastrous confrontation. The South Africans did. We don't know how it's going to end, but at least, Cyril, they are still in that conversation.
Really quite interesting to watch that unfold. And the backdrop to all of this is the Trump administration accepting 59 white Afrikaners into the U.S. last week, giving them refugee status. But what is the reality on the ground in South Africa? Are they really being persecuted?
Well, Cyril, there are over 50 farm murders a year here, and that includes white farmers and black farm workers. But let's put that in context. There were also a total of nearly 27,000 murders last year. The crime rate is unacceptably high in South Africa, but the violence is indiscriminate, and more black South Africans are killed than white. There's a small fringe group in this country of right-wing conspirators who push a false narrative of a white genocide. That's simply not true. As one Afrikaner commentator said, not only is that nonsense, this is the land of milk and honey if you are white. Economically, white South Africans are the strongest group. More than half of all farming land here is owned by white South Africans. They make up 7% of this population. 64% of boardrooms are white. And as for claims of land expropriation without compensation, well, Cyril, there hasn't been a single case of that since apartheid ended 31 years ago.
And Debora, I'm curious because you've spoken to South Africans, you know, this entire time. You have those folks being granted refugee status. You have the video clips of Julius Malema in the Oval Office yesterday. What do folks in South Africa make of all this?
Well, Cyril, you've been to South Africa. You know, South Africans have a great sense of humor. This is a country that gave America Trevor Noah, after all. So there have been jokes and memes saying, oh, I woke up this morning to suddenly discover that it's no longer safe to go outside because there's white genocide. And, you know, people really are making jokes, memes, but there's also anger. Because what happened in the Oval Office and what happened at the White House, they are saying is based on a false narrative. It's simply not. They say thanks, but we have no intention of leaving this country. In fact, there are many who actually say it's South Africa who needs to sort out its own issues as this country grapples with its racist past. Afrikaner cattle farmer Nick Serfontein is one farmer that we spoke to. He contributes, he said, by training the next generation of black farmers. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I'm positive. I'm extremely positive. And so are the young people in South Africa, the young farmers. They're positive. They want to be here. They want to farm.
And really, Cyril, his point is that this is a country where the land must be shared by black and white.
Debora Patta, you know, when I was living in South Africa a decade ago, I was able to watch Debora's work there. It's a thrill to be able to work with you now and clear up misconceptions and misinformation. Debora, thanks so much.